everyone, it's Nicole and I have another layout using the Spencer's kit, and I am down to my scraps. And as I was going through the die cuts, I pulled out that, or I saw that movie reel, and I thought it'd be fun to do a page with that. And it's just of my daughter. There was a mini golf on our campground, and they were playing mini golf. So I just wanted to do a page with that, and I'm going to spray that movie reel right onto the page, and I'm going to do a block page. So I took out my Studio Calico box, and this spray is Cash Money, Mr. Huey, and I'm going to spray in 3 different spots, and I'm going to take out a paper towel right away and just kind of clean up that mask. You can put it directly on the page, but I figured I want to keep it and I can use it as a mask instead. And I'm going to get so much more use than just using it once on a page and then it's done. So I'm going to let that page dry. And while it's drying, I'm going to take out my scraps and figure out how I can put those scraps to work. And I did this page after a night shift, and it was yesterday, which it was the 20th, I believe. Today's the 21st. Yes, the 20th. So yesterday morning when I got home at 6:30 in the morning. And when I got up, I noticed how crooked it was. It's really crooked. So I guess that's what you get after working a 12-hour night shift and you come home and you scrapbook. You see things a little crooked, but at least it's down and together, and it's going to be in my album, and I don't fuss too much about, it being a little crooked. So I literally, that's all I have is scraps, and that Tim and Beck paper with the arrow. I believe this is sheet number 4 that I've used of that paper. I think I have one more sheet of it left because I had, the kits and they add more pattern paper. And then I got the Studio Calico one, and there was 3 in that package. So I ended up with 5, and I didn't think I was going to be able to use them all, even though I love the paper. But I believe I used 4. I looked through my stuff and I found one more. And I think my next layout, I'm going to use part of it. So I want to use that camera paper as one of the block pattern paper. So I'm just going to cut everything down to fit. And what I did was I cut down my photos to 4x4. And I'm going to put a little piece of journaling paper that I had. It was one of the basic gray basics papers, and it comes in cream and in white, and I just love it. It's, you can cut it up and use it as journaling. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this I had a little scrap with my stuff, so I'm going to use it as journaling paper. And now I'm feeling good with the amount, of papers that I got cut up. So now I'm going to start gluing it down. And it's as you're gluing it down that you notice, okay, well, it's a little too big. I need to trim it down. Or you trim it too much, and then you have to cut another piece of paper, which is what's going to happen with that camera paper. I'm going to cut it down too much. So this is layout 23 out of 50 for the Facebook challenge. And I have the link in the description. This layout took me 1 hour and 8 minutes, and it is the 19th layout using the Spencer's kit. And like I said, I think I have one more layout, and then I'll be calling it good, and I'll do my Kill a Kit video. Probably, Sunday? Probably tomorrow morning or maybe Tuesday morning. And then I'm going to be uploading the video with how I'm going to pair up the papers with the new kit, which is Planetarium, and it is the May kit. So that should be up Tuesday or Wednesday, and then I'll start using my new kit. So this is where I cut that camera paper a little too short. So I ended up having to cut another piece. And I couldn't find my pencil for quite a bit of time there, and it was hiding, but I eventually found it. I just liked being able to put a little mark. The reason I cut the paper too short is I tried to put a mark with my fingernail, but it wasn't pronounced enough, and then I ended up cutting it in the wrong spot, and it was too short. So that camera paper is just a little too big, so I'm going to cut it down so that I end up with sort of a rectangle on the page. And now I'm going to keep putting the rest of the papers down. So if you want to see a close-up of the pages that I put together, you can join us on Facebook with the challenge, or you can go to Two Peas in a Bucket and Studio Calico in the members gallery, and you can just look up Nicole Jones 911, and I upload all my layouts there. What I do is I upload my video to YouTube, I go to the Facebook challenge, I update everything there, and then I go to Studio Calico and I go to Two Peas all in one shot. That way I know that it's done, because if I just do part of it, then I'm afraid I'm going to get busy and forget. So I just do it in one shot. And now I'm going to put that arrow paper at the top and the bottom of this whole cluster. And it was a little too big, so I'm just using my pencil, putting down a little mark so that I know where to cut it. And then I'm going to glue it down. And at first I didn't know if I want to leave a little space, but I decided to leave that little space. So now I just got to figure out, what kind of embellishments I'm going to put on that page. And when I inked up the paper, I'd found this cork camera that was left from another page, and it's going to stay on the page for almost till the end, because I think I want to use it. I just can't make it work at the end, so I take it away, but it does stay there for quite a bit. And I decide to use some of that washi tape that we got in a kit a few months ago. And then I'm looking at my basic gray stickers, and I decide on the one that says noted. And I put at the bottom of the photo there, but it's going to make its way up to the top of that photo. And now I'm just looking at something else that I could add to the page. So I'm looking through the die cuts. And these ribbon there are new ribbons from Stampin' Up! From their new catalog. And the color is called Baked Brown Sugar. And I absolutely love that brown. And my friend is a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and she gave me a sample of each of the new ribbon to try them out, and I absolutely love them. They're so cute. So I know I want to use it on this page. There's no green, so I figured I would use brown, because I did use quite a bit of brown accent. So I thought I would use that brown ribbon. So now I'm going through the rest of the die cuts and trying to figure out what else I could put on that page. And there was an acetate that said best day ever. And a sticker, or a die cut from digital cuts that I had printed at Staples. And a speech bubble, and then that date chipboard. I took that out. And then there was a Polaroid. That too is going to stay on the page till the very end, and then I decided not to use it. And then that sticker that I had taken off the basic gray sheet a couple layouts ago that says life is good. And that's actually going to be the title of my page. I'm not going to do anything else. That's going to be the title. Life is good. So I'm still looking through some stuff, and I'm going to try and figure out how I can use this. So I'm going to cut that circle in half. I'm going to put it at the bottom next to that or under that washi tape. And that Life is Good is going to sit right there, right underneath the photo. And the rest of the circle is going to go at the top of the layout with that little tag that says, or chipboard that says date. And the speech bubble is also going to be there. And then, okay, so the recording stopped after 10 minutes, so I just figured that I would move on from there. So I'm starting to glue everything down to the page. And now I'm looking for some enamel dots, and these are some enamel dots that we got in a kit a couple months ago, I believe, or maybe it was last month. And I still have just a few of those green dots, so I figured that I would use them up. And I really tried to use that green button that we got in this month's kit, but it was either that or the sticker that says Life is Good, and I really wanted to use that sticker as my title, so I decided to not use that button. I'll just use it up on another page. And what I do is as I go through my die cuts, I just take out everything that goes with the colors that I'm going to use. So right now I just took out a whole bunch of stuff that was green and some of them with brown. And then I just start putting it on my layout, and then whatever I don't use, I just stick it back into the die cut instead of having to go back and forth into that dish trying to find something. So just because I take it out doesn't mean that I'm going to use it. So now I'm going to cut some twine up. Or before I do that, I decided to get my inks out, and I got the Forever Green and the Green Hills, and I had a little piece of that journaling paper left. I'm just going to smoosh that ink on that paper in the two colors, and then I'm going to punch out some butterflies. And I'm sorry if my voice is all of a sudden gone all wacko. I think it's just because I just finished another night shift. So I've been up for 17 hours or so. So now I'm looking through my flare badges, and that container that I have right there is one of my woohoo things that I got with once I completed my 50 projects layout. I'm just waiting on one more little order, and then I'll do my last haul for completing those 50 layouts. Living here in Canada, sometimes the orders, especially if they're delayed leaving, man, we can wait up to a month. So I'll share what I got to put my flare badges in, and I absolutely love it. And I'll even show you how I glue down the flare badges to it. So now I want to put some foam in behind the bigger butterflies, just so that they look like they're kind of flying away. And I'm going to put them at each cluster. And I'm going to start gluing them down. And then once those are down, then I'll cut my twine and put it with the butterflies. I stopped cutting the twine ahead of time because almost every single time I end up losing the twine. So I just figure now I'm just going to cut it when I'm ready to actually glue it down. So I had taken out a couple of flare badges, but I could only make one work on the layout. So I'm going to keep it around for quite a bit, but at the end I decide not to use it. So the smaller butterflies, I don't put foam tape in behind. I just put some glue and stick it down. So for that little piece of acetate that says Best Day Ever, I just end up putting glue to the bottom of the acetate, and I figure between the flare badge and the butterfly, it'll cover up any glue that kind of shows. I'm going to glue down that wood veneer heart that I had taken out. I had taken out 3 wood veneer hearts. And I'm still playing with that Polaroid. Not really sure if I'm going to use it yet, and that's why I didn't glue it down. I keep going back to it, playing with it a little bit and then moving on because I'm not sure if I want to keep it, which in the end I don't end up keeping. I put enamel dots at the 3 different clusters, and now I'm going to work with that ribbon, and that ribbon is from Stampin' Up, and it is their new in colors, and it's called Baked Brown Sugar, I believe. And I really like the ribbon. And in the new in colors, they didn't have any more they didn't have any new green colors, so I decided to go with the brown because I had quite a bit of the papers that I had cut out were in brown, so I figured brown and green went well together. So now it's time to make the decision, you know, do I want to keep that Polaroid or not? So I'm still toying with the idea, so I put some green paper in behind the camera because I don't like to have just the lens just empty. And I'm looking for some more enamel dots that maybe I could put on the page, but I decided to just use the green ones that we got in a kit a few months ago. And now I decided it's time to put the twine down, so I cut 3 pieces, and I'm going to use my American this to that dot adhesive, and then I'm going to glue the twine with each little butterfly, or the bigger butterflies, and it just kind of pretend flight of the butterfly. And I'm going to put some at the top cluster, and I'm going to show you some close-ups. And now I'm going to show you some still pictures. I didn't ink up anymore because of all the spray. I didn't figure it needed any glimmer glaze or anything like that. So here are a few close-ups, and that's it. The page is done. So thanks for watching. Bye.